Hello, good morning, good afternoon. In Aotearoa, New Zealand. My name is Juan Bautista Propato. I'm currently working for Football West. I'm the Football Development Officer. Before I was in New Zealand for over 10 years. In Germany, Argentina, I'm a PE teacher. I have a master degree in sports, high performance. I'm currently doing the A license. I could carry on with the courses another time, but today we have the pleasure and privilege to have Brian. How are you, mate?
I'm good. Thanks for having me on today, Juan. I appreciate it.
Thank you for your time. Which badge do you have there, Papamoa?
It's Papamoa Football Club, yeah.
Very good. So tell me a little about yourself.
I'm originally from Ireland. Where do I start? It's been an interesting journey along the way. If I go into the details, we'll be here all day. So originally grew up in Ireland, family of 7, sports mad family. My parents were pretty busy growing up, driving us around at weekends to different sporting events, tag teaming, moving us from one car to another car. It was an interesting life growing up, very happy childhood, going to sports events, whether it was football, Gaelic football, hurling, or athletics. Every one of my family, brothers and sisters were involved, and I think that's where our passion for sport grew and where my passion for sports grew, and especially football. I got an interesting opportunity at 15 years of age to go play with St. Patrick's Athletic in Ireland. They were a top team in Ireland, National League team. So I played 16s, 17s and 18s with them. And then I got an opportunity to go across to Pro Tech Soccer Academy in England to play, where they're affiliated to a few clubs in UK, Arsenal, Barnet, clubs like that, in around London. I had opportunities to play with Hayes and Yeading, which was the old Vauxhall Conference. They were known as Hayes back then. And then opportunities to play for clubs like Port Vale. And my nursery club at the time was a non-league club in the Eisen Premier League, was Potters Bar Town. So it was interesting playing the different levels and getting all that experience at such a young age. Didn't work out for me in England, but lucky enough, my parents made me concentrate on my education, and which is very important. And I went back to Ireland to do a degree in industrial design, and little did I know football would take off over there again for me. And I played in the Irish National League for about 6 or 7 years. Got my degree, played with my uni, won the national title with my uni, got to play for the national university team. And then, got an opportunity to go across to Oz to play in 2007 in the Victorian Premier League. Spent a year there with Springvale White Eagles, and went down to another club called Dufton Soccer Club. Really enjoyed my experience in Oz as well.
How was that transition? So how was that transition from Ireland English football into Australia? How do you find the league?
I guess I underestimated it a little bit. I thought it was going to be easier after playing in England than playing in Ireland, and actually had a stint in Brunei as well. In 2004, a short stint in Brunei with DPMMFC. So I thought I underestimated it a little bit, and it was a lot more physical than I thought. It was very like the lower leagues in England, the Vauxhall Conferences, the non-league football, very, very physical. But yet, a lot of the top teams in the Premier League were very ethnic based, and you can see their style of football coming from places like Croatia, Serbia, Greece. Played against South Melbourne, shall I say. And you can see the style of football coming from those regions into Australia. So yeah, it was an eye-opener and enjoyed the experience.
Nice. And then you moved to New Zealand to play as well?
I didn't. I was due to come out to New Zealand to play for Terry Phelan. Would have been back in 2010, but he ended up losing his job with Otago United. And I ended up deciding to go train to be a school teacher in London off the back of that, and played non-league in England for a few years with North Greenford United. And I sort of walked away from the game then once my teaching career started, and started taking up coaching more in schools. And I quite enjoyed the coaching in the schools. And it was 2015, my wife and I eventually moved out to New Zealand, and I got a chance to play with Eastern Suburbs, but it was short-lived because I ruptured my Achilles. And that's really when my coaching career kicked off really. Drew Kennedy, who was the reserve coach at the time, was going overseas, and I took over the reserve team at Eastern Suburbs. And in 2015, the year they won the Chatham Cup, they had a really good year that year. Won the Northern Premier League as well. So that was a really, really good experience, coaching the reserves and working alongside Malcolm and just watching what he does. And very experienced coach. So that was really the catalyst, and coaching at Auckland Grammar as well. Had a very talented 14A1 team at Auckland Grammar. And yeah, that's where the passion for coaching really, really kicked off. But I remember taking my first badge at 18, the introductory to coaching with the FEI back home in Ireland. And so it's been a long process from 18 to 2015 where coaching really took off for me.
So what did you learn in that year when you were coaching in 2015, an assistant coach along really good coaches?
With Malcolm, I guess, you have a job to do. Malcolm's a very personal person, but when he's into coach, he's into do a job, and everyone listens when Malcolm speaks. And I was just his leadership, his style of leadership, I quite enjoyed. He'd have a laugh and joke with the players, but the players knew when training began, we were into train, and he always wanted 100%, and I love that from a coach. There's coaches I've coached in the game, and I didn't always ask too much of my players because I didn't want to put them under too much pressure. In the amateur game, it's amateur more or less here in New Zealand, unless you're playing with top clubs like Eastern Suburbs and Auckland United now, Three Kings and Onehunga after merging. But big clubs like that in Auckland, it's amateur, so you're afraid to put the pressure on the players. You don't know what sort of day they've had. You're quite conscious about how they're feeling. They could have had an awful day. There could be stuff going on at home. But with Malcolm, he was quite personal. You could go talk to him about anything, and he's just his leadership style. Really, he was very focused and very driven.
You say that you want to give him 100%. What he was doing? You talk about the leadership. What else he was giving to the players, or his approach where you as a player and you have that feeling from everyone else, you say, I want to give 100%, I want to do it, because sometimes people talk about, we need to do this 100%, and I look and like, I'm not 100%,
Yeah, what is 100%? I guess from a personal point of view, for me, 100% is just giving you all on the pitch. I think if you knew you left it all on the pitch and you worked hard, and you were doing everything Malcolm asked you, you get a shot. That's the sort of feeling. You wanted to put yourself in the window for him to be in the first 11 every week. Now, I didn't get the opportunity because my Achilles broke down in pre-season. But he brought that togetherness with the team, and it was that camaraderie, like a brotherhood with the team that year. And what he did, it was just fascinating to watch. Like he'd look after his players when he brought, like a lot of boys came out from the UK to play that year, and he'd look after them, make sure they were comfortable, so they could concentrate on football. So someone's looking after you. You want to give 100% from him. So sort of that sort of father type figure in a way, without being that father type figure, So
that's kind of that was the feeling that you got from him, and then you say, I want to give 100%, and everyone else around the team.
Yeah, I think his vision as well. He was a winner. You could see that, and that sort of positivity just rubbed off in the team. Never say die. I think they went down to Kashmir, and I didn't go down to Kashmir. I don't think that I was. It was with the reserves that weekend, but they went down, and the boys were telling me stories that they were down and out. They thought they were going out, but then they had that never say die attitude, and that season they had was fantastic. Now again, I didn't play a big part in it. I was just watching from the outside and just watching what Malcolm was doing and what the team were doing, and it was fascinating to see.
And then now, kind of having your own philosophy, what are the three most important things as a coach that maybe you have or a coach should have?
I think one of my philosophies is that you have to have fun playing. You have to enjoy it. I think when I was playing as a player myself, when it became a job, I stopped enjoying football. You hear people saying about going into work and it doesn't feel like work, because that's because they enjoy it. When I stopped enjoying football as a player, it started to feel more like work. I guess so. I guess it has to be fun. It has to be structured. Players want information more and more every day. What do I need to do to improve? Why are we doing this? They're asking these questions. They're more curious. So your sessions need to be structured. They need to be fun. That's a big thing I had to learn after my short-lived coaching gig at Fencibles United. It wasn't fun for the players and it wasn't fun for me. So that's one of the reasons I walked away. And I went away, and even though I felt like a failure, I had to take the time away from the game to understand it. And it wasn't until I went and worked with Brian Shelley at Bohemian Celtic. He used the word fun a lot. Players have to enjoy it. Think back to when you were a player. What did you enjoy about the sessions? Yeah, they were hard work, but you came off the ground laughing. Why did you come off laughing and smiling and joking? Because you enjoyed it. So your sessions have to be fun. Make them competitive. Have forfeits. Have stuff like that. Make them competitive. Have competitions between the players. So yeah, that'd be one of the things. Again, I'm a stickler for time as well. So I guess if I'm going to plan sessions and structure sessions for the players, I respect the players to be there in time, turn up in time, turn up the train. But when they turn up, again, you're conscious of the day they had because it's an amateur game, the level I'm coaching at. But you do the FIFA 11, you might have some warm-ups with a bit of fun involved in it, just to get them in that right frame of mind, that positivity before you get into the hard work. So that's one of the things I focus on.
Yeah, I guess, I don't know if that was exactly the case, but sometimes I did have that experience. Sometimes it's like my passion or the way I want to train, then maybe the players train in another way. And also it's that understanding of everyone is different. You need to understand that, because if not, to be a coach is quite frustrating, because you expect everyone to be 100% all the time and, want to win and whatever.
Yeah.
And maybe other players are in different levels. And then if you want everyone at the same level when you start, maybe it's not going to happen. It's kind of like you say, okay, maybe walk away. I'm like, okay, then almost giving the time sometimes to some players to be up here when yourself or myself, maybe we started warm up and we already focused about the training.
Yeah.
Can do
Every
attitude.
player is different.
And that understanding, even for myself, I remember I took a team and I want to do more with the team. They used to train twice a week. I want to train 3 times a week. And then in the middle of the season, we have a meeting and the players say, we don't want to train 3 times a week.
Yeah.
We don't want to be the best in Wellington. We don't want this. We want to be better, but we don't want to do more. Training 6 o'clock in the morning and all stuff. And for me, that's true. It's not about what I want, and I want to be better. I want to win the league, whatever. For them, they want to be competitive, and maybe we win the league, or we do good things. But it was like you say, it was a really learning good point about that, because it's like step away and you look at like I was wrong, and now
it's
about that.
Definitely looking back at my time at Fencibles, I went in and I didn't coach the way I normally coached. I was second guessing myself a little, and what the belief wasn't there that I had in previous jobs. Like I coached in National Premier League in Australia, Women's National Premier League in Australia. I've coached reserves in Australia, and then a women's first team in England, in the 4th tier in England. And I started to second guess myself, and even in games where we be 2-0 down and we come back to go 3-2 up with 15 minutes to go, I'll be getting caught up in the hype in the moment, and I said, all right, let's go forward again, let's put this game to bed. While in previous coaching roles, I'll be like, no, we've got the result now. Let's game manage and get the result. So I guess I wasn't where I was meant to be at that time. And again, it's a learning curve, and you got to think about, these players have lives as well. They have a lot going on. They come to football as a release to enjoy it. Again, your philosophy it doesn't have to change, but you might have to alter it to play the way you want or get what you want out of the players, because it's not where you want to be as a coach, but it's a stepping stone. So again, as a coach, I hear people talking about philosophies and, oh, this is my philosophy, but you go into it, every club's different, every player is different, every scenario is different. So you got to be able to adapt and grow as well.
Yeah, that's a good point. Many coaches at different levels they talk about that adaptability, isn't it? And also adaptability to survive, to go to new club, new environment, maybe new country. And talking about the learnings, I know you are doing currently the A license. What are the learnings from starting from the C license B into the A? What are the major things that you say, I didn't look at this. Now I'm kind of maybe have a different opinion about football or a different way I coach, or my philosophy have an evolution, and I'm here and I'm still making a few changes?
I think now that I'm in my A license, I'm doing a lot more research and a lot more learning around the game and seeing what the best coaches do to try find that sort of. I don't think anyone's philosophy is perfect because it's always changing and it's always growing. But I always taught myself, I was an attacking player, but as a coach, I'm more defensive minded. I don't want to concede, and some people might see that as negative, but I want to transition and break quickly the score. I bat any team I coach, the forwards or the attacking midfielders to score goals, but I want to make sure we don't concede. That's our foundation. And that's sort of stayed with me now after, and I've gone back to that the way I used to coach after the Fencibles experience. But I think with the A license now, you can to talk about coaching across the spectrum. They had you coaching a certain way in the C and the B to understand the game, and you can start to be a bit more freer and be more a bit more you when you coach as well. So I'm enjoying that. There was a good podcast by Steve McLaren recently. I think Andy ex All White coach Andy Hodgkinson, was his name?
Yeah.
He had a great podcast with Steve McLaren, where Steve McLaren says he talks about philosophies. It's not about philosophies, it's about your principles within the philosophies. And he says people say they're a defending coach or an attacking-minded coach, or they focus on these values, but they forget the transition in between it. So I guess I'm become more of a transition-minded coach, and you win the ball. So what's our next job? What can happen? So if we lose it, what can happen? Or if we win it and we're attacking, what can happen? So I'm more of a transition coach. I'm enjoying looking at the game through the eyes of other coaches, like learning from coaches like Des Buckingham, who I'm sad to see is leaving New Zealand football. It's a shame. Probably the best coach in the country at the moment, I think, and I do wish him well. But life goes on and football has to go on. Enjoyed learning from him and Owen Prosner and Steve Dillon when he was at New Zealand football. So and Rob Sherman, of course. But not much has changed. It's more looking at your own team model and how you want to play, and how you analyze games using sports code and huddle. It's looking at your philosophy deeper, breaking it down, understanding what you want to get out of the game, what you want to get out of your players, and how to get it out of your players. Understanding how to approach interviews when you go into a club who might be in turmoil, or a club that has had great success and the coach has stepped down. So putting yourself in the window for the pro game or working in the game at a professional level. So I'm enjoying that journey from starting my Kickstart 1, Kickstart 2 in Ireland, and level 1 in Ireland G-cert, right through to, which is now the D license there, to the C license in New Zealand, B license in New Zealand, and now to the A. It's a lot more work. It's a lot more research, looking at periodization, nutrition, psychology around the game, which I find probably the most fascinating part, and the part I enjoy the most is just getting inside the head of your players, working out what they want to achieve. How do you get them to do what that 100% that Malcolm uses? And I guess I'm quite a personal coach. Like I'm a quite approachable coach. I always look after my players. I can see when they're down, recognize that, and put an arm around them and pick them up when they need to be picked up. And then you have to be able to recognize the players that need that good old fashioned telling off. I used to get growing up from coaches, that gets them going when they play as well. So it's no one shoe fits all. It's an individual approach coaching now with your players.
Yeah, that's sometimes the tricky part as well about coaching. How the show part if about that individual training by the group training, understanding each individual, and like you say, some players, come on, or I don't just, you play well today, and sometimes testing personalities all together, and then you got 5-10 seconds to make that decision.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think I've definitely struggled with personalities in a changing room at Fencibles. It was definitely an eye opener for me, and how to get those personalities on side, and they were good players, but just they weren't buying into the culture or philosophy. And maybe I was a bit too strict on the way I wanted to do things. Maybe I need to step back a bit, which I've done at Papamoa now. I'm coaching the women's team there, and we spoke about what they want out of the game, why they play the game. So we had an evening after training. We had a short session, and we went and had an evening at the club, and we spoke about the culture. What does it take to create culture at the club? What does football look like for you? What's our legacy going to be? What's our legacy going to be? And it was great listening to Tony Sheridan when he came in on the A license, discussing how he did that with the football ferns, and it's just something I've adopted now and brought into Papamoa ladies first team, and they really bought into it and really bought into the culture. And when the lockdown started, they were good at it, but they've all been training during the lockdown, which I'm really happy to see, and looking forward to getting back to football. And the texting every day going, we can't wait, is there anything else we can be doing? The culture has just gone from that social side to a competitive side, that look, we can do something this year. We don't know, we might win it, we might not, but we can definitely do something this year. We left it behind us last year. We can still have our fun and the social side of it as well. But look, Brian is right. We only get a short time playing this game, and we don't want to be looking back in years to come going, what if, even if it's just amateur level or professional level, everyone looks back at their football career and go, what if I'd done this, or what if I'd done that? And you don't want to live with those regrets, I guess.
Yeah, good. Tell me a little more about yourself. Working in Papamoa, do you do coaching education as well at the club?
Yeah, I do. So I run, it sort of stopped because of lockdown, but we have our federation teams, which are our top range youth teams, our skill centre teams, and TDP teams. And every 2 weeks, I take one of those teams. They come in earlier to training that night, and the coaches come and watch, and I put on a different part of a session. So I might look at the passing practice 1 week, and then 2 weeks later, I might look at the positioning game or the game training, and just run through options. And instead of giving them all the information, I ask questions. Now, what would you see here? Could you try this? And they're starting to buy into it now and see the game a little bit clearer, because I'm giving them ownership of it, a bit like I've done with the ladies team, giving them ownership what the season looks like, and letting go a little bit. And they're starting to come on board now. I had planned to run once a month coaching education workshops from them, get guest speakers in, even do whole Zoom conference calls from different parts of the world, different coaches I've worked with on different elements of the game. Get Dom for sight to come in and talk to him about the psychology behind young players playing, and why they play, and what they want to achieve, and the pressures of the game on those young minds. It's a big thing I noticed as a player. Probably if I had that growing up, I probably would have gone a little bit further. I think mentally I wasn't prepared. I had everything, but mentally I wasn't prepared as a young man going into the game. I thought I was all going to be smelling the roses, but for everything can change in a minute in the football world. So so that's what I'd planned to run. At the moment, during the lockdown, I've been putting together a Papamoa way, a Papamoa framework. How our junior kicks, our first kicks, right through to our seniors would look, or playing model, or philosophy. And I've been looking at enhancing women's football in the region as well. So, to try get a team from the region into the NRFL Premier League in 2 or 3 years, and trying to, stamp my mark on women's football down there at the moment. So it's been an interesting journey. I've left teaching to go into working football full time, and I've absolutely loved it. And hopefully I'll be there for a long, long time. Only on a short contract, but hopefully it'll get renewed next year, and we'll go forward again.
Yeah, we all do. We are all in a similar position. So it's about, like you say, planning, working hard, getting the players and coaches on board. And you're in a great club, Papamoa and the Bay of Plenty. We know
you're all stomping ground.
Yeah, and also Otomota, it doesn't really have any room to grow, but Papamoa is in the next 5-10 years will be the biggest center in the Bay of Plenty, especially that down there, because you have all that room where it's a new motorway. I don't know, it's not new anymore, but 4 or 5 years ago was a new one. So great. You got great personnel on the club over there. So
definitely great people.
Just to start to wrap up, so how do you see the future of, I was thinking to ask you about Ireland, but you are more Kiwi than anything else.
Yeah, but I think I've been out of Ireland a while now, and I still have a couple of mates who work with the FAI, and they're been a quite turmoil time over there with in terms of finances with the football association over there. But I don't know too much about it. The comment on it, I don't know what's gone on. But it made the news, and the government got involved. But their under 17s and under 19s seem to be tracking quite well. The under 19s made this semi-final of the European Championships last year, and were ranked in the top 10. So there is some good things happening over there. Again, I've been out of the game too long over from an Irish point of view, but they seem to be tracking quite well. And I'm a bit more focused on New Zealand football at the moment.
And what about New Zealand? How do you see the future of New Zealand football, men's and women's?
I guess everyone's entitled to their opinions, and I think recent appointments look good. Martin coming back in, and Tony Sheridan getting involved, and future looks bright for New Zealand football. I think it's a big loss, Des leaving. Personally, now I got a lot of him when he was at the conference a couple of years back, the National Football Conference, and he's been on the A license as well as one of the tutors. Fantastic coach, fantastic guy, very approachable. And I just a shame what he's done with the team and the culture he's created within the teams he's coached and within New Zealand football, that he couldn't finish the journey he had started. Again, I can't comment enough. I don't know what went on. But at the moment, I think we'll have to wait and see on that one. And I'm sure Danny certainly knows what he's doing. I was on the B with Danny, and he's a fantastic guy, fantastic coach, and he's won a lot of titles as a coach in the youth game over here with Sacred Heart, and he's coached underage New Zealand teams. And I'm sure Danny has a vision that he wants to push, and going forward, and I'm sure it'll be a good one.
Yeah, and Danny knows the game really well. Isn't it been so many years, although he's not Kiwi born, but he played in the National League and coached so many teams in New Zealand. So he's have a really good background. And like we were talking before at the beginning, he understands Kiwi players, how they tick. So yeah, I agree with you. He will do good things in New Zealand football, I'm very sure. So to finish, anything else you want to share that we didn't talk about it?
I guess I think I guess I want to share a book I was reading. So I've been on quite a personal journey over the last year, and I'm trying to figure out where I want to go with my coaching, and then the Fencible thing hit me quite hard, having to walking away from Fencibles, the job at Fencibles. Probably walked away a bit prematurely. Probably should have stuck with it and believed in what I was trying to do there, bringing the youth through. So I guess I've been on a journey over the last year, and a great book I've read was by Drew Broughton, ex-professional in the UK, and Dem What, fantastic read, and talks about letting go and Talks about not putting too much pressure on yourself. I guess him as a player, every time he went out to train, I'm giving 100%. Why aren't I starting? You know, he couldn't understand why people are walking around, 70% or 80%, and they were starting every week. And he wasn't. And I guess I'd grown up as a young player, I was the same. You know, I always went out and gave 100%, no matter what. I have to drag me off the field half the time in training. But I guess it's a great read for parents to understand what pitfalls kids and players can fall into. Great read for players to not put so much pressure on themselves. Just let go and enjoy the game, and coaches as well. So yeah, it's definitely something I wanted to share with people. Whatever the future holds, I know I'm enjoying stuff at Papamoa. I'd like to see myself eventually maybe get involved in New Zealand football underage setup with the 17s or 19s, whether it be the girls or the boys, or go to States and coach. I think working with a student athlete, I think after being a teacher, I think I'd really like to do that again, but at university level in the States. But other than that, I'm enjoying it, learning during the lockdown, and trying to stay positive and smiling still. It could be worse.
Yeah, you're right, and it is a journey, and we need to enjoy the up and downs through the years. Like life, football is life. But these interviews I call it football for life, because it is our life. It's our winning, our losing, draw. Sometimes just get hammered, but it's something out there that keep us going. And that's the way it is. And I always enjoy the new challenge. And like you say, well, as well, I don't have a long contract, but keep doing the best I can do, the best I can be, and then don't worry too much about the future, because even more than ever now, it's almost day by day. I mean, good news in New Zealand with no cases, good news here. So slowly, everything is going back to a new normal. But enjoying the challenge, and but I appreciate it for your time. I wish you all the best. I'm very sure I will see you soon again, New Zealand, or maybe here.
Yeah, maybe back in Oz, maybe, who knows. Football's weird. You don't know where people are going to end up, and that's what I enjoy about it. You don't know where you're going next, and you don't know what the future holds. I used to think one time you were able to plan your future, and now I'm like, you don't know what's around the corner. You don't know where you're going to end up. But I never thought I'd end up at Papamoa, but great club, great people, and I'm really enjoying my time down there, and I don't see myself leaving anytime soon.
Very good.
Great speaking to you, Juan, and I wish you all the best with Football West, and I'm sure we'll speak soon.
Yeah, thank you. Take care, my friend. Bye-bye.
Take care. All the best.
And go some Pats. I have the shirt.
Go St. Pat's. Oh yeah, I saw you had the shirt. Enjoy, mate. Take care. Bye-bye.